Walk us through your position group. How are players looking so far?
Man, I'm super excited about our position group. We're young, but we are super athletic. We have guys that are humble, eager to learn, and they're picking things up super fast. And so from the likes of Maquel Haywood, Vincent Terrell, Daniel Jones, Amin, Hassan. I mean, these dudes are ballers, Campbell Spates. Like I said, we don't have a ton of them right now, but they're really, really good. Moving on down throughout the room, Cameron Dalrymple, Titan Case. Just going to be more excited about all of them, including Cam Smith. Just a really good group. A lot of freshmen, some sophomores. Colby Jaquez is our one junior that'll be moving up, and they're young, they're inexperienced in our system, but they've made a ton of plays, and they're going to fit right into that role of A's make plays and make a lot of them for us.
Specifically, Daniel Jones and Maquel Haywood, how are they looking so far? They had productive years last year.
No, they've done a great job. They've done a really nice job. They continue to really work on the educational piece, just to get the wisdom behind why we do what we do. And so that experience has come along really, really well for both of those guys. Couldn't be more excited for both of them, the way that they continue to grow and become better players because they understand the game better. Mental, it's so critical at this point, the mental piece, and they're really starting to pick that up.
And then lastly, Kai, he was with you last year right now with the quarterback room. Why do you think he'd be good with this transition?
Man, Kai's a great athlete, and if Kai comes back to A-back, stays a quarterback, goes to wide receiver, goes to safety, Kai's one of those guys, you want your team full of guys like Kai. He's doing a great job at QB, but you could take a body like Kai, somebody that loves the game of football like Kai, and find spots for him. Because more importantly than a position, we're looking for guys that love the game of football. Kai's one of those guys. And so super excited about his potential, and we'll kind of see how things unfold.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
We'll go to Bill Wagner, Annapolis Capital.
So with regard to Kai, I mean, you lost your two starters in Chance and Carlino. So I would imagine you weren't too thrilled to lose the guy that had the next most amount of experience, right?
Oh, not thrilled necessarily, but, football is a team sport. Every person has a different role on every play. And we have guys that are stepping up to the challenge and will fill that role, whatever it might be. And so although, losing Kai is a hit to the room, we have other guys that are really stepping up and adding value to the room. So you just kind of roll with it, and we're excited about where we're at.
So, I mean, based on the fact there is a good chance he could come back to slot, has he been taking some reps at slot back during spring?
No, he's been focused 100% on quarterback.
Okay.
Certainly having the reps last year weigh heavily on him. You look at the history of that position, Malcolm, he actually played quarterback and slot. He went back and forth multiple years. And so it's something that we're not, brand new to doing. And he'll be fine wherever he ends up just because he loves the game and he's a good, smart football player.
Well, if I know Coach Niumatalolo, and based on his past history, if he's not the starting quarterback, he's going to go back to being a slot. In terms of the two younger guys, Maquel, first of all, Maquel obviously showed a lot as a kickoff returner, but he didn't get many looks as a slot back. In fact, I think Army might have been the first time he even carried the ball as a slot back. I have to go back and look. But
yep.
What was he just not ready to play slot back last year as far as knowing his assignments and all that?
The big thing for a freshman, for a plebe, the rigors of being a plebe. You come through plebe summer, you're trying to get your legs back, you're trying to just get back in shape, you're trying to pick everything back up. And by the time, it's a progress. And as he worked through that progression, he got onto some special teams and continued to build up his athletic ability, if you could, from going through plebe summer to the point where we knew we needed to get him on the field. And we did that obviously at the end of the year, And as we look at last year, we saw we got better and better throughout the year. And, he progressed a ton by the end of the season, was able to contribute in the Army game and help us beat Army.
So obviously, I mean, the average fan sees him having success and doing well running back kickoffs and thinks, well, if he should be playing a lot more and handling the ball as a slot if he's a He's got a dynamic with the ball in his hands, but it's not the same thing. Catching a kickoff and running, trying to find a crease and run straight ahead. It's not the same as, going in tail motion and catching a pitch, et cetera, and having to, read blocks and how's he progressing on that front? And, you sense that he could be a game breaker in that role as well?
Oh, 100%. I've been super, super impressed with Maquel. As I have been with Jonesy, and also the likes of number 23, Vincent Terrell. These are guys that are great athletes that know how to run the ball. So we get the ball to them in space, let them catch a pitch and run downhill. We're going to be in good shape.
Yeah, no, Jones, we've heard a lot about his tremendous speed. Haven't quite seen it in a game setting yet, but what can you tell us about Daniel Jones and his skill set?
He's got great hands. He's got great understanding of the game of football. He's a tremendous athlete, and he's a young man that we were bringing along last year, and he got injured mid part of the season, and that really set him back. And that combined with Maquel's increased performance throughout the fall kind of allowed Maquel to get some more reps there towards the end of the season. But we are extremely high on both of them. We're extremely high on Jonesy. Really, really good athlete, and he's going to make a lot of plays for us.
Thanks, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it, bud.
Let's go to Scott Wyckoff, WBAL Radio.
Coach, what kind of personality is this younger group kind of coming together with that you've seen with the spring?
I'll tell you what, they're the personality that you want to be spending as much time as you can with. They are contagiously positive. They are optimistic. They are hungry. They work very, very hard, not just on the field, but also in the classroom. And when I say classroom, I'm not just talking academic studies. I'm also talking the football classroom. It's both. And so it's a group that just really energizes you. You spend time with a group like this, and really just makes you want to be a better person. It helps you understand just the importance of this place and what it brings to a young man. And so it's been really fun to be part of these guys.
And how are they fitting in with the offensive line? Always you say a team sport and a dynamic. They're a position that's unique in slot back, but also they rely on those guys in front of them.
Yeah, 100%. They rely on those guys, and they've gelled extremely well. The O-line, the perimeter with the wide receivers, the quarterbacks, they've all really gelled really well. Coach Niamatololo and as a staff, we preach love, we preach team, we preach family, and we really are a group of love and family, and our A-backs, our slots are no different than the O-linemen when it comes to that. So as far as gelling and understanding what we're trying to accomplish, they all get it. And it's about having all arrows pointed to the exact same place, which is success and improvement each and every practice. And to be honest with you, I can't wait to get out there practice today and see these guys develop and grow a little bit more because they're hungry to do so.
And this group is so unique. I mean, they're from every part of the United States, including Hawaii. I mean, that must be really unique to have a room of players that come from such diverse backgrounds.
No question. I got the best job in America. I get to spend time with the best of the best from anywhere in the country. And it really is. It's unique to have guys from multiple states. They all have a different background, a different understanding. But when we get together and we sit and talk about things that matter in life, these are guys that really care about each other. It's not, hey, we're united, we're a brotherhood. No, it's real. Like, these guys truly care about each other. And it doesn't matter if one's from Florida and the other guy's from Hawaii. It frankly doesn't matter because they've gone through so much together and they care so much about each other. They care about the goal at the end that they're just drawn to each other, and is pretty special to be part of.
You mentioned the Terrell, and I also know Amin Hassan is on the depth chart. What can you tell us about those two guys?
Just special players. Vincent's really done a great job. He's a young man that has a very contagious smile, and he takes that contagious positive attitude onto the football field and plays with a ton of energy. He's the guy that's going to make a big play, and then he's going to get in the defense's ear and chirp at him a little bit, which is kind of fun, but it's all in good gist. He just has a love for life, a love for the game of football. And so it's been great to see him rise to where he's risen this spring. Amin Hassan is an extremely sharp football player. He has a great learning curve. If he was 6'6" and 230 pounds and a drop back quarterback, he'd be drafted in the NFL. I mean, he has a mind that's really a great football mind, really a sharp kid. He's a young man that I only have to say something to him one time and he gets it. Not only does he understand it, but he also goes out and executes it on the field, which you don't always get. It's a game of repetition, and that's life. But Amin really picks things up quickly.
And we all know that the slots have to block for each other. When you have guys like Chance Warren and Carlinos AC, veteran guys that they're going to get the job done in that respect. What about these young guys? I imagine they're still learning as far as how to execute the blocking.
Yeah, 100%. Totally still learning. We'll still be learning in 2 years, because they're always trying to get better. They're adequate on the perimeter right now. They're young, and we have a lot of growth that still needs to be made, but they're striving to become better every practice. And so I don't have any doubts, any question about where we'll be with that philosophy of daily growth. But they're definitely guys that I count on, and I think we can count on as a football program to get behind. And whether one guy has the ball and the other guy's blocking or vice versa, I feel really comfortable with all of them, including the likes of other guys we haven't talked about, the Campbell Spates of the world, and Dalrymple and Titan Case and Cam Smith, et cetera. We really have a great room.
Thanks, Joe.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it, bud.
And one more, Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, what kind of resource has Coach Peterson been for you this season?
Coach Peterson is just an amazing person, first of all. He's a great man. He's been a great resource. It's like anything. That you're on the right track when you're winning games and having success. But then when you have somebody with his background and experience in the room and you're talking about the things that we do, and he's like, yeah, absolutely. That's where we have that same success. It just gives you that confirmation that, hey, yeah, absolutely, we're doing the right things. So that's been nice. His personality has been amazing. He's super positive, has a wealth of knowledge, has, some great ideas. So overall, it's been a really, really positive situation. It's been a blessing to have him on staff and to have him as part of the White Room, to go to work and work with the guys we get to work with every day offensively is really a special deal. And not to take anything away from the defense, because our staff overall is a special staff. This staff is different in a great way. And so Coach Peterson's, he's added to that component of big time value for our staff.
Awesome. Thanks.
You bet. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Let's go to Phil Bergman. He does have another one.
Coach, not your position group, but doing a feature on Creedon Folger, and he mentioned you had a connection in recruiting him here. How'd that come about, and what's he like?
Well, the Creedon is an absolute stud. The connection came because he served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I also served a mission back in the early days when I was 19 years old. I was living in South America, in Colombia, Barranquilla, Colombia for 2 years, back in the days of Pablo Escobar. Well, long story short, we have that mutual connection. And so when I recruited Creedon out of northern Utah, we had those ties. And then, of course, the football ties, which led into the recruiting process and eventually getting him here. But Creedon is a very unique individual, has tremendous leadership skills, tremendous background, super athletic. Probably the thing that we loved most about Creedon is after he returned from his mission, keep in mind that's 2 years without really exercising, they'll go for a jog, but they're not in the weight room. They're not doing plyometrics. They're not hitting it and getting it like our guys do athletically. And so after 2 years, he gets home from his mission and he's got a basketball and he's dunking the basketball, and here you have a kid that's 260 pounds that runs the way he runs and has that explosion. We were kind of like, all right, this guy's got a chance. Let's get him on campus and see what we can do. But I'm really excited for him in his future.
What was it like for you growing up in Wake Forest, North Carolina? What kind of town was it, and how did it prepare you for the Naval Academy?
So when I was growing up, when we first moved there, It was a small town, kind of like everybody knew everybody. Now it's becoming more of a city. But when I was growing up, the first team I played on was Wake Forest Titans, and so that was our little Pop Warner League, and football just kind of revolved around that. And I started football there, and you get on the team, everybody knows everybody, and it's kind of the team bond is always there. And I've always known all my coaches and stuff like that. I went to school with all my teammates, and I mean, it was a great environment, very supportive people. You would go to the games and everybody's aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters would be there. So it was very unified. And then when you go into high school and stuff, we were one of the best high schools in in North Carolina at the time. And so every Friday night, the games would be packed. Winning 2 state championships was amazing. And, just the football atmosphere was just always great, and always had good relationships with my teammates and stuff like that. And so preparing me for the academy, the brotherhood here that they talk about is real. And I think growing up in Wake Forest and when football was such a priority, it helped that camaraderie that the Naval Academy has. And so it was kind of just like taking the next step. And it was really good. These coaching staff is phenomenal. And my coaching staff back at Wake Forest High School was great, well coached. And, it just made me very blessed to come from a high school that I came from and the environment that I did.
And what did it mean to you last year, your first year, your plebe year on campus, to have such an impact on the team as a kick returner?
I mean, it meant a lot. I thank God for it. Because, going into the season, I was on scout team. I wasn't traveling at the point. And so I always just had in my mind, a lot of people, when they get on scout team, they get down on themselves. And when they're not traveling, they get down on themselves and their work ethic starts to decline. But for me, it was the opposite. My work ethic increased a little bit and my hunger to get on the field increased. And so when I finally got the opportunity to be the kick returner, I took that personally. And, I wanted to secure that spot for the rest of the year. And, as time progressed, it meant a lot to be able to go out and play on Saturdays and help the team get the wins and obviously help win on an Army-Navy game.
Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Phil Bergman.
Maquel, following up on that question, what do you love about kick returning so much?
To be quite honest, in high school, kick returning was not my favorite thing. I never was able to wrap my head around it. Didn't really like it too much. But, when I came to the college level and when I got that opportunity, at first it was just like, okay, this is my spot on the field. Let me do it to the best of my ability. But now kick returning as a whole, I just love it. I got my 10 guys blocking for me, and it's like our 11 versus your 11. All like just every other aspect of the game. All 11 has to do our job exactly right for everything to click. And for this kick return, one thing I like about it most is the trust I have to have in my 10 guys blocking for me when I had a ball in my hands. Because when I'm looking up at the ball, I'm not looking at my blockers. I'm just trying to secure the ball and get down here rolling. And so the trust that I have to have in my players is something that I really take pride in, and my teammates and stuff. And so that's one thing I like. And then, making people miss and being in an open field. And I don't know, I just like it. The adrenaline rush, it comes with the beginning of the game or coming out of halftime. And, that's just that spark that can lead the offense to a good possession or anything like that.
How's competition been going for slot back in the position group so far?
Competition is high. We're really young in the room, as we only have one junior, and the rest are sophomores and freshmen and stuff like that. But the competition is up there. We're still competing for starter positions and stuff like that. Spring ball has been a great opportunity for us to test our abilities in open field and making people miss and catching the ball and stuff like that. And so talent level and competition based, I think we're all still competing for that top spot, which is something I love because I love going out and seeing who can have the best day, but still at the end of practice, loving each other like we're on the same team.
And lastly, just looking at the depth chart, there's rising sophomores all over the board. What is so special about your class?
We are a special group of guys. I think one thing that sets us apart is really just like our drive and our motivation, our work ethic to not be outworked, and to not be just not to be rolled over just because we're the young guys on the team and stuff like that. And as like even last year we had a young team, and then we're gonna have a lot of rising sophomores, a lot of sophomores next year that are gonna step up to the plate and fill those roles just as they should, even better, exceed expectations. And so, I mean, my class and I, we've kind of taken it personal that whenever we have opportunity to shine, we're going to take advantage of it and do the best that we can to help our teams get wins on Saturdays.
Thank you.
Wags.
Maquel, how do you think you caught the attention of the coaches last season to get into the role of kickoff returner?
That's a good question. I ask that to myself sometimes too, and I'm still not 100% sure how that role landed in my lap. You know, God's favor is what I always fall back on. But you know, in scout team, like I said, even when I wasn't dressing, I was still coming out to practice and busting my tail. And I was giving the defense the best look I could, and I was running hard, running physical. And I remember coach came up to me and was like, "Hey, did you ever return kicks in high school?" I was like, "Yes, I returned kicks in high school." And one of my high school highlights is me having the kick return. I was like, "Yeah, coach, if you need somebody, I could get the job done." And unfortunately, we had a couple players get injured. They ended up coming back, but they ended up getting injured, and so they were out for a couple weeks. And I was ultimately the next man up. And so, I mean, that's just how it is. College football is always next man up. If somebody goes down and somebody's not fulfilling that role like they wanted to, it's next man up. And that just so happened to be me.
Look at your bio. It says you had 2 ACL tears. What one was your senior year in high school? When did the other occur?
My other ACL tear, my first ACL tear was the summer going into my freshman year in high school. So I missed my whole freshman year of high school ball, and I missed half of my senior year due to ACL tears.
So how proud of you are to be able to overcome those serious injuries and earn a college scholarship and be where you are today?
I mean, yeah, those injuries are tough. And so whenever I see a knee injury of somebody on the team or somebody, you know, just in college ball or sports in general, I always get really down on myself. I mean, not down on myself, but it hits home because I can relate. But, you know, in high school, my freshman year when I tore my ACL, it was devastating because I was super excited about high school ball. And but, you know, I rehab, grew in my faith, and, you know, ultimately got back on the field. I tore my left one first, and then my senior year, when I tore my right one, right in the middle of our season, mid-season, 7th game, that was devastating. As I had already had some offers pulled in at the time, and it was just at that time it was kind of narrowing down where I wanted to go to school at. And that was a tough decision, considering that just about every school that I thought about, they were like, "Okay, nah, we don't really know if we want to take you because of the injury or whatever." But, you know, that just shows the loyalty that the Naval Academy had, because they saw me as more than a football player. You know, they offered me because, yes, I can play ball, but they offered me because of my character, and they offered me because of the reputation I had in my school. And so that just goes to show how differently the Naval Academy recruits men than other colleges. And so, you know, when I called my recruiting coach, I was like, "Hey, coach, you know, I just want to let you know I tore my ACL. I'm out for the season," and stuff like that. And that was not a problem for him. He's like, "Yeah, I know you're going to come back. I know you're going to be able to ball again. And even more than that, you're a good man." And so that just shows the loyalty that the Naval Academy had, which stuck out to me. But yeah, it was a tough time, but, you know, we were able to get through it.
So who did recruit you for Navy?
Coach Downing, Kevin Downing, he was the defensive line coach last year.
Yeah, I got you. What so now I think this story may be coming back to me. Did East Carolina pull their offer?
Yes. Yeah. So how that all worked is I was getting ready to commit to East Carolina. And they basically shot me down and was like, "No." And then they had another running back commit that same day, and they allowed him to commit. And did my injury have somewhere to play in that? Yes. But maybe they just didn't think maybe they thought he was better than me or something. I wasn't worthy enough to play for the Pirates, but, you know, I mean, that's how the cookie crumbled. And at the time, it was devastating because it was like, man, I wanted to commit to the school, but, you know, they didn't want me. But that just then again shows the loyalty that the Naval Academy had, and that's why I take so much pride in this place.
Yeah, I think East Carolina may be reconsidering after you ran the kickoff back 98 yards.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between, catching a kickoff and finding the crease and running. I mean, you find the hole and you go. Catching a pitch and going in tail motion, catching a pitch, and then finding, you're following your blockers, trying to figure out where to go. It's different. Has it taken you time? I mean, because obviously you were not really in the slot back rotation until the very end of the season. Did it take time to try to get a full understanding of the assignments and how exactly to play that particular position?
Yes. Yes, it took a lot of time and watching a lot of film and just, being able to take a step back and take notes on the guys in front of me, Chance and Carlinos and those guys who ran a triple option just about as good as any other A-back you can ask or you can think about. And so it was definitely an adjustment. But it's a part of the game, and being able to learn and take a step back and understand that, okay, you don't know it all. You don't know how offense works. And just being able to watch the people in front of you and how they operate and how they maneuver, how they block, how they run, how they read their blocks, and stuff like that, how they run their routes. All mental notes I took the whole season. And so then when I had my opportunity to get on the field, I was ready. I was mentally ready. I was physically ready to step into that role when needed. So, it definitely took some time, but ultimately I think I was able to adjust by, once again, looking at the people who are in front of me.
So where would you say you are now as we're midway through spring camp? You feel pretty comfortable? You feel like you know all your assignments? You feel like you can execute everything that they ask an A-back in Navy to do?
I do, but, there's always work to be done. There's always things I can improve on. There's always things we're looking at film. Maquel, what could you have done better here? How could you tweak your angle on the block to get a better block? Could you made a different cut with the ball in your hands? I mean, so there's things I'm always working on every day. I'm just like everybody on this team. And so, but I do feel like I'm filling in the role a little bit better as I do have more experience and I have better knowledge of the game, of the offense and being able to read defenses and stuff like that. And so I would say that I'm progressing, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go back around the horn one more time. Scott Wyckoff.
And what's it been like having Kai at quarterback taking snaps and handing it off to you?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's been crazy. We joke about it all the time, and I always tell him, we have a joke where it's like, hey, Kai, if you're reading it, pitch it. Don't even think about running it. Every time it's a read option, you better pitch the ball to me. He's like, nah, I'm running everything for myself. But that's just our friendship. And it's been good. He's been stepping into that role fairly well. As you know, quarterback here it's a hefty task, I would say. But I think he's doing a great job of being able to operate offense and get us in the right play and just being able to maneuver and stuff like that. And he's moving really very well at the quarterback position. But we'll see. We'll see where he's at come the season. But if he's in quarterback, I told him to pitch that ball.
What do you think of some of your slot back running mates, guys like Daniel Jones or Vincent Terrell or Amin Hassan?
Nah, everybody in that A-back room, everybody in that slot back room they're tremendous guys. And tremendous competitors as well. And Vince, he's had a very standout spring. He's been making plays left and right. And Coach Nehemiah actually pointed him out in practice after Saturday's practice, and he's had a phenomenal spring. And so I'm very, very happy for these guys. I'm very happy for this A-back group that we have coming in. People in my class and DJ and Vince, who are the sophomores and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be a great group. I think it's going to be a phenomenal group. Yes, we're young, but I think we're going to be able to, when we have the ball in our hands, I think we're dangerous. And then we block for each other just as hard as we run. So I'm very excited about this year and those guys as well.
Thanks a lot. We appreciate you.
I just got one. Who's the fastest of the slot backs?
Fastest. It's up and down. The catapult may say DJ someday, may say me, may say Vince. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But Vince is pretty quick. So I might have to give him the trophy on that one.